and boom goes the dynamite.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. We made it to the end of 2022. Happy New Year's Eve. And welcome to another edition of Daily Dive. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and we've got plenty on tap for today. We've got to get into our top story, but we also have two guests that are supposed to be joining us today as we give our quick predictions and game previews, but also have two guests and Mammoth analyst Jamie Shewchuk joining us, as well as Panther City reporter Maggie Hale. So plenty to get into. And with that being said, I want to welcome in producer Mike onto the show as we've got to talk about our top story, the return to Calgary for Curtis Dixon. We talked on this yesterday with Ryan Ballantyne as we see the San Diego Seals and Calgary Roughnecks facing off, which means the return to Calgary for Curtis. He says he does expect a warm reception like Dane Dobbie got last year. As we know, had a tremendous career in Calgary, 845 career points with the Roughnecks in his time from 2014 to 2022, won a championship with them in 2019, lost in the finals with them in 2014. So it's been a part of a lot of the success of the Roughnecks and now makes that return back to the Rough House. What are you expecting in this return for Curtis Dixon?
Can I get another boom? No, I'm kidding. It is interesting as I read those stats. It was like 2014 lost, 2019 you win, and I believe they traded you last year. That's just insane because he had 846 career points with them.
It's crazy.
Like, had been there since birth, you know what I'm saying? And like you said yesterday, I really hope that people pack the house. I know TSN's going to be there. It was almost our game of the week, but I thought we had a better one. But I think it's going to be a fun game. I expect emotions. Maybe a slow start, but we'll see.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think it's going to be a great. I love when there's deeper storylines and emotions connected into the games, and it's more than just the X's and O's. Like when you have those rivalries or relationships or former players or coaches even that return back. It always adds a little extra. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. And as you mentioned, could have been our Daily Dive game of the week. But let's talk about our Daily Dive game of the week as we get into our picks. Now, looking ahead, you are now in the lead. You're 6-5 on the season so far. I'm just under 500 at 5-6. I had a terrible week prior to the break. So I'm hoping this is a big comeback week. So I'm going to get you started with our Daily Dive game of the week. The Thunderbirds taking on the Bandits. Undefeated Thunderbirds versus the Bandits. We know that Chris Kluche is not going to be playing for Buffalo, as was reported yesterday, out with that thumb injury. Halifax has 38 goals in their two games, including 20 versus the Swarm, 18 versus the Wings, whereas Buffalo, who's just allowed 8 goals to the Rock in that game versus Toronto, did have a loss to the Firewolves as well. So a lot to look at here. But what are your thoughts on who wins this one?
Hear me out, Halifax fans. You played the Wings and you played the Swarm. And as we've seen the first couple of games for those teams, they get peppered by the Nets. A little term I like to use here on the show. I think Matt Vince, combined with the offense and the roster of the Bandits in general, I think Tehoka Nanticoke is a big underdog. It's crazy to think that Jeff Teague gets all the praise if we talk about preseason, and Tehoka had a great season as well, but he's like way down the list of the best players according to players. I mean, that's still got to bug him. I think I'm Bandits winning. I think they get 13 and hold the Thunderbirds to 11.
Okay. I definitely think the Bandits are going to win this one. I agree. I think this is going to be a different test and challenge for the Thunderbirds prior to their, as we talk about playing the Wings and the Swarm. It's just a different level right now. So I imagine the Bandits are going to win. I'm going to say by like 4, though. Bandits by 4. It's a pretty tight game, and then I think Buffalo's going to open it up a little bit more. And although the Thunderbirds will try to close the gap, it'll be too late. Too little, too late. Another game that we've also got facing off tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Panther City versus the Rush. We saw Panther City come off of beating Vegas back-to-back before dropping a loss to the Mammoth. And then Saskatchewan, who's had 2 games where they led by 7+ goals, did struggle with keeping those leads, but impressive starts to their season and how they knocked off the Colorado Mammoth. before that loss to the Seals. So, what do you think?
Renee, I'm going to have to do it. I told Panther City last game they played against the Mammoth, you guys play the Desert Dogs. And got brought back down to earth by the Mammoth. The Rush in Saskatoon. This is a recipe for disaster. 2.5 is rare that I've seen watching lacrosse the length that I have. 2.5 spread means like a lot of people realize this is a mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Rush to win 14-9. I wanted to go higher, but I gave Panther City a little bit of respect there, but I don't know if I think Rush win by 4 or 5 goals, if not more.
Oh, okay. I don't like to agree with you because although we're close in picks, so I can have some that we have the same picks. But this is when I can't take that leap of faith on. Like every once in a while, I like to take a gamble, pick the underdog for the upset. Sometimes it pans out correctly, sometimes it doesn't. This is one of those games I can't see Panther City winning. I don't see it happening. I don't know what would have to happen for that to happen. I'm going to go Rush also. Yeah, we're going to keep it simple. All right. We've also got the game we talked about that could have been our game of the week as the San Diego Seals take on the Roughnecks. This is going to be a big one, as we talked about in our show yesterday and touched on a little bit today with the return of Curtis Dixon, but also several other former Roughnecks and Dane Dobie, Keegan Ball, Frank Chiliano that are returning back to face their former team in Calgary. Who wins this one? Both teams 2-0. Roughnecks coming off of knocking off the Warriors in both games. The Seals, as we talked on, one of their wins being a great comeback win against Saskatchewan. I feel like we're going to be different on this one. So I'm going to let you go first again.
I really don't like picking all gold stars and wonderful, easy picks, but here's the deal. The only way I saw the Roughnecks winning this game is if Christian Del Bianco had another Jesus Christ performance. I don't know how the Seals. I mean, I think they're going to start. I think the game's going to start slow. I really do for the Seals. But I think by the second quarter, the jitters are gone. Even Curtis Dixon in that same interview did say, "Yeah, I'll be a little nervous." And I know Ryan Ballantyne tried to sell these Roughnecks high. I couldn't do it. I'm gonna go with the with 14-11 or maybe 13-11, maybe a little bit lower. But I think they I don't want to say pepper a million times. I think they get a whole bunch of goals in like a row, and I think they hold on and keep it respectful.
So you're going with the Seals.
Yes.
I'm going to be different on this one. I agree with you in that it's going to be like the Seals, in my opinion, are absolutely the favorite. You look at the way that Curtis Dixon's been playing, Dane Dobie, Wesley Berg, overall, just what they have, Stotts coming back into the mix. But I think that Jesse King, Tyler Pace, and the Roughnecks are ready to show that, you know what? This is like you see your ex and you want to show them like I'm better off without you. Like this is that game. So I think that the Roughnecks are out to prove, yes, you were here, we had you, we lost you, but we're going to be better off because of it. And I think it's going to be a physical game, a tight game. And if it is a close game down to the wire, I think Calgary gets the upper hand. Being at home, it's going to be a big crowd for the holiday weekend. I'm anticipating a lot. High attendance, close game, down to the wire, and a Roughnecks win by like 1 or 2. That's my prediction.
I actually like that. I'm surprised it's only plus 100 for the Roughnecks, which means that maybe, just maybe, if the betting market is talking right here a little bit, maybe they're saying, well, the Seals still have to get some chemistry going. Roughnecks got chemistry. Like Roughnecks, they got to. I mean, they know who they are. They know what they have to do. They got to rough it up, but from the neck down, not the neck up, because that'd be horrible. They have to keep it physical, but if Seals start, all over the place on Christian Del Bianco, it's gonna be a long night. I really hope you're right, because it would be awesome to see the Roughnecks get the win.
Del Bianco is going to have a huge game, and the Roughnecks are going to make it an ugly game at times, but it's going to be one of those grinded out, team gritty victories. That's going to be a memorable one. That could have been our game of the week because I think it's going to be that exciting. So plenty to look forward to this weekend. I know we do have Mammoth analyst Jamie Shewchuk, who's standing by, I believe, Mike.
We will see you on commercial.
Stay tuned. We're going to have more to come here on Daily Dive in just a moment. And hopefully Mammoth analyst Jamie Shewchuk will be joining us here. So don't go anywhere because we've got more to talk about around the NLL. See you soon.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and we've been talking about predictions for this upcoming weekend, taking a look at the games as we have NLL action facing off soon. It's an exciting time because we've had a break around the holidays, which I hope everybody has enjoyed their holiday season so far as we get ready for the new year. And so producer Mike and I had a chance to break down our picks, looking at the Daily Dive game of the week, Thunderbirds versus the Bandits, as well as Panther City and the Rush. And then in our Saturday matinee, the Seals Roughnecks game. So we'll see how those picks pan out because, as we said, Mike, we are very close in picks right now, taking some leaps of faith. And if it wasn't for my 1 in 6 week that I had, I'd be in the lead right now and peppering you. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not salty or anything.
We're a bunch of chefs, you know.
Basically.
Which game, like, do you think could have the highest scoring, like, low key? Because I've done a lot of these teams, like a lot of them could be blowouts, like with the Seals, the Rush, and the Bandits with Thunderbirds toss up. I don't know, whoever you think, but I think we could see some goals this weekend. But I also could see like that Roughnecks Seals game being like really, like you said, ugly.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is this early in the season, because it still is early. Some teams, this is just their third game, actually, for everybody. No, I'm kidding. Panther City has played 3 games.
They need more games.
Yeah, they played 2 in 1 weekend, so that helps. But yeah, I mean, overall, teams are getting into their third, fourth game of the season. It's still pretty early, as we talked about, still trying to figure out chemistry and everything. So it's hard to pick. Even on paper with a favorite, it's hard to pick like a blowout, a very one-sided victory. I could imagine if I had to pick out of all of these, perhaps the Rush Panther City game being a little bit more open. I think the Thunderbirds Bandits has potential as well. I think the only game that I would be truly, truly, truly surprised if it was a blowout is that Seals Roughnecks game. I just think there's too many layers there to it for that game to be completely one-sided. But I could see either of our Friday night games tonight being more one-sided, more open, just because of the imbalance of like a team in the Bandits and the Rush that has more of that stability, consistency, veterans, balance of talent of rookies to vets versus the Thunderbirds and Panther City still trying to, they're still the new kids on the block in a way. They still have some things to work through. So I could see one of those. What about you?
Definitely, because I hope the fans that are hopefully packing the arenas this weekend, I really do hope that the first two games are not blowouts, but like you said, like Saturday games are the ones you're looking at. But for me, with like the Thunderbirds and the Bandits, I'm like, I want Halifax to be real. Not like a real place, but like, I want them to like be a real contender. But 18-20, hard to come by, I'd assume.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you have to get to beat the Bandits, you know? And then for the Rush, I think Panther City stats are going to be skewed by that Vegas home and home.
So, it's a good point you bring up. I think the hard thing at this point in the season is because of the way the schedule has been, you have Panther City and Calgary that have both played the same team twice. So while it is tough to beat the same team twice, they both did it. You knock off the Desert Dogs, you knock off the Warriors, two teams that we don't have high expectations for the season, unfortunately, as much. And so it still leaves us unsure. That's why it's hard to predict what we're going to see from Panther City and Calgary in their games, because we just don't have as much to go off of. Now, we did see the Mammoth Panther City game, which was a lot. And I know we'll have Maggie Hale on at a later portion of the show to talk about Panther City and take a deeper dive into it. But, when you think about it, it's still so early. It's still so hard to tell how players are meshing, how teams are looking, because I feel like I haven't seen enough from some teams, period.
Right. Can I put a little surprise on you here?
Oh, no.
I just feel like it's fair because we did kind of like have to make our own thing here. I want to say hi to Maggie as well. I do.
You just put Maggie on the spot. She didn't know
I had
she was on yet.
Can you hear us right?
Welcome in Panther City reporter Maggie Hale.
Yes, I can.
Give us a chance to give her a proper introduction, because he was welcoming Maggie in a little bit early to the show. But yeah, I mean, look, we have Maggie on the show as a chance to be able to take a deeper dive into Panther City because we don't know enough. We haven't had a chance to get out to see them play. We in person as Maggie has. We also haven't had a chance to just be around the players enough. I know that there's a lot still to tell from what they're going to bring to the field this season. But what your surprise was?
Yeah, it's surprise. Yeah, she wanted to come back. We're good.
Awesome. I love it. We are excited to have you on the show, Maggie, and have a chance to talk Panther City with you. Welcome to Daily Dive. Thanks for taking time to join us. It's always great, especially to have another woman in sports as we're breaking down games and things. So welcome to the show.
Oh.
Yes.
Be here.
Awesome. Now, I know there's a little bit of an internet lag, so hopefully you can hear me clearly, Maggie. Hopefully we're good. But I wanted to just get your thoughts on the start to the season that Panther City has had. Starting off 2-1, sweeping the Desert Dogs, and dropping a loss to Colorado. What have you seen this season, in your opinion, that makes them a team that's a contender, a team to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I think kind of what they did last season, a new team, was so that they were even kind of in on a playoff spot. Last round was just getting acclimated with each other and to figure out kind of identity, and especially being it's not like huge staying down here in Texas. They definitely made it popular, so it was really cool to see that. Then they had the draft, Donville, and then also traded for some players. Specifically, Tyler was a guy that they were really about. Just team on face-offs. But he is hurt for tomorrow night, so that's definitely going to be a loss. But I kind of they assets and they kept a lot together, especially their Phil Malcolm and Nathan Grennan, and they work together well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just talking about, being a new team last year, figuring things out, having a season under your belt, having a chance to kind of mesh and gel. And so we're going to take a quick break, but we've got more to get into here on Daily Dive with you, Maggie, talking about the Panther City expectations and looking at their game versus the Rush as we prepare for that, because it's going to be an exciting one and it's going to be a big test for them.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in a moment with more here on Daily Dive, and our guest, Maggie Hale from Panther City, joining us to break down what she's been seeing down in Texas. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Daily Dive. We've had a chance to break down our predictions for the weekend and share our thoughts. And now we've got, joining us ahead of their game versus Saskatchewan, we've got the Panther City reporter, Maggie Hale, joining us here on the show again. Now, Maggie was talking prior to the break about just how this team has been meshing and coming together and just a different team than last year. Well, this weekend, it's going to be a nice test for them as they get to face it off against the Rush at home tonight. Now, what do you think it's going to take for Panther City to overcome a team like Saskatchewan, playing them in Saskatchewan, that has a lot of swagger, a lot of veterans, a lot of experience to be able to get that victory on the road for Panther City?
Yeah. I say one of the hardest teams to know that we had 2 losses, and I think against them was turf, so that definitely, I know that arena is going to be loud tonight. And I think it is going to be the most challenging. Panther City is facing Alex Bouquet in the goal. I think that's a really for Sass this year, and it gave us a ton of trouble in Vancouver last year. I do think that has really come together and kind of more just mesh, adding new players. Defense was something that general manager Bob Hamley really focused on, and get bigger guy, gonna like make a couple punches. I wanted to really just like he says, add some meat to the team.
Oh my goodness, I love it. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Alex Bouquet is definitely going to be tough to face, but looking at Saskatchewan as a whole, playing in Saskatchewan is always tough. And then as you talk about looking at the way they matched up against them last year, just wanting to be able to have more of that physical battle and hold their own, taking a punch if need to, but in all seriousness, being able to bring the physicality, make it an ugly game at times, and do whatever they can to grind out the win. That's a great point. That's interesting. Absolutely. So some of that swagger, some of that physicality, that aggression is what you're anticipating will help Panther City on the road against the Rush.
Absolutely. I think they'll be a better match, that Sass team. I know obviously both positions, but I think I almost shouldn't count that Colorado. They had traveled for most of those guys 3 different time zones and over a span of like days. It was an insane, and I know that I say that they were tired, but no, they just played the physical game that got pretty at the end and was just very, very high energy. I feel like their performance again, last season so far is definitely an indicator of what they're capable of. Like they looked at the end of, you could tell that they were already, and I think that was some lacking at the beginning of last. I mean, like rightfully team, and they were all just each other and in a new.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And it is tough when you think about having such a quick turnaround to play the defending champs in the Colorado Mammoth after a really tough game against the Desert Dogs. But as you mentioned, it probably is a better indicator of what you saw against Vegas that was different than last season, where last season it was just new kids on the block, trying to figure everything out, trying to get a rhythm going, trying to figure out like being in the new city, being in a new franchise, coming together with different teammates. So it is, I think the game versus the Rush today is going to be such a great test for that exact reason. Like, I don't know that we can fully gauge from the Mammoth game, and then it is hard to gauge against the Desert Dogs since they're a new team as well. We've got nothing to compare them to. So I imagine tonight's game will be like the biggest eye-opener of what this team can do. So I'm curious to know from your experience of just being around the team and the vibe and just how everything's been going, what kind of season are we looking at in terms of like performance, wins and losses? What do you anticipate? Because we don't know from the outside, but as someone that's close with the team and seeing, you know, the work that they're putting in every day, what can we expect from Panther City this season?
You could expect a run from Panther City this season. I know that's pretty bold, but I think it just kind of mentality that comes top from Greg Bibb to their Tracy Koleski, who reaches that, like, here it was almost like, why not be able to go to the playoff team, but so what? Do you guys know how to play good players? And we just hear and kind of just that, why not us? And I don't necessarily push a winning mentality. When we work together, what we're supposed to be doing, and everyone's fun.
Yes. Why not us? I like that concept, and like just having the mindset that, okay, this could be it's a new year, it's a new season. Everybody's starting out, well, you know, now 2-3 games in, but why not us? Why not this be our year to surprise some people, make a deep run into the playoffs, and be that underdog team that nobody really expected to be at the top of the league? So I like the bold confidence because, again, why not? Why not? Nobody has any expectations on Panther City, which makes them a dangerous team in itself. But I, again, I love a good underdog run. I love it. So my last question for you, Maggie, what are your expectations and predictions for the game tonight? Score, I'm assuming you're obviously going to have Panther City winning, but give us your like pregame prediction of how you think they're going to win and what it's going to look like.
Okay. I think it's definitely a high scoring game. I think that they're to Panther City.
Okay.
Just pulled that one out of my pocket. Feeling a lot of offense. I feel like I'm tired of the defense. We want scoring, super high energy. Like, the vibes are just getting in that arena, and there's one going on.
I could see a 13-9, 13-10 game. I could definitely see a lot of goals. And I could see also, especially unfortunately, Panther City has not had the greatest attendance, which needs to be better, Panther City fans. But I think that being in an arena that's got a lot of fans and like a higher energy might even help them get going some more too. So I could see a nice, you know, high scoring battle, 3-4 goal game. That would be cool. That would be exciting. That'd be so exciting. Well, thank you so much, Maggie. I love the prediction. We're going to hold you to it. We'll see how that pans out. If Panther City is able to knock off the Rush, a 13-10, 13-9 game on the road in Saskatoon. Woo! It's possible, though. Why not us, right? Why not Panther City? So thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Daily Dive out of your Friday. Hopefully you enjoy the game, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show in the future, breaking down some more excitement as Panther City is making some noise, making that run into the playoffs. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Well, we've got a lot of great games, and there you have it. Maggie Hale, Panther City reporter, predicting a nice, high-scoring, high-energy game for the Rush Panther City game tonight. We've got a trio of exciting games, so be sure to tune in to catch those as we've got our game of the week, the Thunderbirds and Bandits, Panther City and the Rush, and then finally the Seals Roughnecks matchup. So plenty to get into as we're turning back from the Christmas break, and a great way to close out 2022 with some exciting NLL action. So thank you guys as we close out our final episode of the year, just of 2022 though, not of the season, of course. We'll see you guys in 2023. I'm that person, absolutely. See you next year. I am totally that person. We'll see you next year for more Daily Dive content, analysis, previews, bringing on some great guests like Maggie Hale, and more to discuss as producer Mike and myself, Renee Washington, will be diving into all things NLL. So have a fantastic New Year's. Be safe. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll see you back here for more Daily Dive on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time at Daily Dive Lax on all things social media. See you guys next year.